Hey friends, welcome back to Faith to Impact. It's great to be back with you. So excited to be able to be with you today, to be able to share, to be able to talk about a story, and to be able to share something I'm super excited about. I've been talking about this May 17th about something going on, so I'm excited to be able to talk to you about that. But I want to talk to you about a quick story that really talks about never giving up and never and why that's important. And so I'm excited to be able to dive into that with you today. And so over the weekend, down here in beautiful southern Utah. So southern Utah has some amazing national parks. If you haven't heard about it, Zion National Park, and then there's Moab, there's Bryce Canyon, there's all sorts of amazing things here. And Utah, and it's so fun, and a lot of people are just like jealous that I live close to here. They're like, really? But hey, come visit, come see the amazing things here. It's so awesome, and I love it. And so over the weekend, with some of the young men from church, we went on a hike. So or later this year, they're all going to be going on like a backpacking trip where it's like you go hike 5 to 10 miles, then you camp, and then you do the next thing, the same thing the next day, and you do that over a few days. And so it's really cool. And so we've been trying to prepare for that, right? Prepare for that, figure out, okay, let's make sure that we know, that we can hike and kind of get some things. And so we go to this place. I've never been here before. And it's called, I think Snow Canyon is what it's called. And so we drive out there, and down here in southern Utah, there's a lot of red rock, right? A lot of red rock around. So you're just kind of driving around, and we go up this canyon. It's about 25 minutes away. We go up and we find this parking spot. So there's this little parking spot where you can go, and then there's the trailhead. Then we go on this hike, and it's about 2.5 miles each way. And we go up there. And again, I've never been there, so I have no idea really what I'm expecting. But we had a couple people who've done that before. And so it sounded like it was pretty good. But anyways, I was just there for the company, there to, help the boys out as well. And so we go on this hike, and we're going up, and there's, all sorts of rocks everywhere. And then, like I'm constantly kind of worried about my ankles because playing basketball, I've twisted them so much. And so I'm like, I hope I don't like twist my ankles. I'm doing this, but there's all sorts of these little rocks that you're going up, and there's some sand in between. And so we're just kind of going up and having a nice conversation as we're going. And it gets about 2 miles into it, and we get to this part that's just pure sand. So you're just hiking in sand, which if you've ever done that before, it can be challenging. Now it's not as challenging as some others that I've been on. So I've been on like a sand hill down at Lake Powell, and that's like you're almost going straight up in this sand. You go 2 steps, you go back 1. And so it's like this constant thing. You're going up and coming back. It's really tiring. So this wasn't quite as bad as that, but there's still a lot of sand, and it does slow you down. And so we're going up here. And again, I've never been to this location before, so I have no idea what to expect. But we're going up this sand, and this is kind of the hardest part. Hardest part is going through this sand, getting up and weaving our way up here. And then you're just like the whole time, all you can really see is some trees that are around you and some rock. Like there's really not a whole lot to see. And it was actually funny because some of the boys found there's like this big spider there, which I was like, oh, good thing Amy's not here because she'd be freaking out right now seeing this massive spider. And then there were some beetles, and like I was talking to him later about how like it's kind of funny. There's not a lot to see if like the bugs are the thing that are like super exciting, And so we finally get up here, and you're going through this tough part of the sand, right? It's kind of slowing us down, and we're getting up there, but we finally get up to this where you can see some of the bigger rocks, because before it's more just rocks on the ground and there's just trees around. But we get up to this spot where there's this opening, and there's these big rocks, and you can kind of see that that's where there's going to be some sort of lookout. And so we go over there, weaving around, and you kind of turn this corner, and then you get up to this spot where you can, it's basically just rocks. It's the edge of this cliff. And looking out, like you are so high up. Like I'm looking down, and it's just, we only went up in like 500 feet elevation. And so I was so confused about like, where are we? Like I had no idea that this was hidden back here, because when we drove over here, we drove kind of up higher, I guess. And so like the trailhead for this one wasn't like at the very bottom of this. And to be honest, I don't know if there is anything at the bottom of this, because it'd probably be more like rock climbing, getting all the way up to where we were at. And so it was really interesting though, because again, my expectation was that I would just see, some sort of view, but not the height of where it would be. So I'm sitting there on the edge of the rocks and there's this big, gust of wind that's going on there. One of the boys is like, "Oh, I hope I don't get like knocked over," but it was so cool to sit there with the wind blowing, across my hair and just looking out and seeing the beautiful view there. And I'm sure that you've had moments like this before where you've maybe gone on a hike, you've done something before that you didn't know what to expect. And you finally get there and you're like, wow, this is amazing. I love the view. I love what I'm seeing. And you felt like just grateful for that opportunity that you're able to be there. And so it's so good to sit there, to think about these things and to look out and just see this amazing view and see how high up we were, especially when I wasn't expecting that. And so to me, I love this example, and it actually ties into something that I was journaling about this morning. So this morning, what I've been doing is I'll typically work, do a quick workout in the morning, and then also will, read scriptures, and I will be writing in my journal as well. And so what I do with journaling is really kind of what I call future journaling, where I really try and envision how is it going to be in the future? What are the things I'm working on? What am I working towards? And how are those things going to happen? And what's going to be going on there? And so as I've been doing that this morning, I was thinking about how, I've told you about Faith to Impact Plus, this awesome membership that I'm creating, where it's really all about faith, family, and impact, just an extension of the show, but just taking it to the next level, and really helping people to figure out, okay, what is it in my faith that I need to do better at? What is it in my family? What is it in, making an impact? Like those things to me are super important. And I feel like that they are to you because you're listening to this or watching. And so it's one of those things that I look at that and I say, okay, this is really amazing. So I really try to envision, some of the things that I'm working on and I'm going and doing. And as I mentioned a few weeks ago, my goal is to have 500 members of this awesome community. And so I've been writing about that in my journal, and I'm sitting outside on the porch here in St. George. And the nice thing about St. George and Southern Utah versus Texas is that it cools off at night. So it still gets pretty hot during the day, but like I think today is like 82, so it's not as hot as typical. But yeah, it's still warm. But the nice thing is it's pretty cool in the morning. So it's out there just on a workout, and it's kind of nice and cool. And so I'm writing in my journal, and as I'm writing, I just have this thought come to mind that there's so many things waiting for me that God has in store. That there's so many things that are out there, kind of like when I was on that hike, right? I had no idea what was going to be there, but then I finally see that. I finally get to that point where I have that lookout, and it's just like, whoa, this is amazing. It's so cool. I would have never thought when I started this journey that was so cool. Like when I started on that path of stepping on these rocks and going through the sand, and then finally getting to that tough part and finally having to go through that sand and turn the corner and see this amazing view. I just had no idea. But I was doing the work. I was putting in the time and doing the work so that I could get there, that we could do it. And a similar thing for us, right? Like one of the reasons I want you to never give up is because there's so many things that are waiting for you. Imagine the views and the amazing things that you will be able to see in the future, right? What does God have in store for you? And what do you have in store for you that you may not even know about? Like, what are those things that you can't quite see? But that's why it's so important for us to never give up. If I was on that hike and I just decided, 2 miles in, I'm done. Like I'm done with that. Like, why would you do that? Especially when you have a group of people there helping you and going together. Yeah, maybe someone's getting tired, but someone else can kind of come talk to you and help you get over there. We can take a break. But having that group of people there to then go do that, it just seems so silly to be able to give up, right? Like that's what we're doing, we're going to do that. And so it's a similar thing for us, that looking at this moment, I just hope that this can remind all of us to say, you know what? I'm not going to give up. When I'm working towards something, I'm going to stick with it, and I'm not going to give up because I know that there's some amazing views, some amazing things that are going to happen to me in the end. And so that's what I was thinking about this morning when I was journaling. It was just like, man, there are so many things that are going to be happening in the future that I just need to be patient with, and I need to continue to push forward and to never give up, or else I won't be able to see that. And so I'm so grateful for that. And I wanted to share that with you today, because I just think it's a really powerful thing that each of us can do, that we each need to continue to not give up in anything that we're doing, that we need to stick with it, because that's how we're actually going to get through it. That's how we're going to be able to see the amazing things that are in store. And the thing that I was thinking about is, again, I'm excited for, 500 amazing members of this community, which is, going to be starting very soon. I'll be talking about in a sec. But is that I'm so excited for this. And it just seems like this amazing view that I get to go see. And I can't wait to the end of the year, look back and say, look, we did it. Look at this. It's so amazing. But as I was writing that, I just really felt from God that there's so much more. He has so much more in store. And that's why it's so important to never give up. Because if you give up now, you'll never get to see that. And so that's my, commitment, my reminder to continue to push forward and to never give up. And I hope that helps you as well. That you say, hey, you know what? When things are hard, I'm going to keep pushing forward because I know that there's better things ahead. That yes, there's going to be some struggles. There's going to be some hard times. But if I keep pushing through, that's when you can get to the views. That's when you can get to those amazing things that you don't even know are going to be there. And so that's my reminder to you about that, just to never give up. Okay. Because that's really the key, is that we need to never give up and keep trying. And so I am, like I mentioned, I just wanted to, I said I was going to talk about, Faith to Impact Plus for a second. And so what I wanted to say is, today's the day. So today is the day, and I'll be talking about this throughout the week, but that we have opened the doors to the Faith to Impact Mini Summit. So I'm so excited for this first ever mini summit. And let me just recap what that is exactly. So a summit is where you bring together, multiple speakers. And so I decided to do something a little bit different called a mini summit. And so mini summit is similar to a challenge that I did actually a couple months ago called the Massive Impact Challenge. But the Faith to Impact Summit, or mini summit, I should say, is where there's going to be 5 amazing speakers that come together to help you in which areas? Obviously in your faith, in your family, and in impact, right? That's the whole goal of the summit, is for you to have big takeaways and to have something specific that you can do in your faith, in your family, and in impact. And if you just want to choose one of those and focus on that, you're like, I need to focus on my family or whatever that is, do that. If you want to go and branch out and look for each area, then great, that's awesome too. But the whole idea is that we're going to have 5 amazing speakers. And so it's going to be next week, May 24th. And then it kicks off at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Pacific time. And so it'll go for about an hour. And so we'll have, these amazing speakers helping you in that way. We have a workbook and all sorts of stuff so that you can continue to look at those different areas of your life and be inspired. And what's really cool about this is that when you're focused on, hey, it's faith or it's family or it's impact or all 3, then as you're listening, you're going to look for those specific things. And so it's going to be so much fun. And this is the first ever. And the cool thing is after this, we'll be doing it every month. So this is really the first that we're doing, but then every month after that, we'll continue to do that. And that relates to, Faith to Impact Plus, which if you're interested in that, then go register for this free event. On the second page there, you'll see some more information about Faith to Impact Plus, which is where you can get, the replays. So you can listen at any time or watch or read. So you basically get the audio replays and all sorts of stuff. So there's more information there. But you can go check that out. But I'm really super excited about this and I can't wait. And so I invite you to go check it out. And part of this too is essentially is my founding member launch. So with Faith to Impact Plus, the doors are opening. So yay, hey, you can actually join. And that's where, being a Faith to Impact Plus member is where you get all those amazing benefits and you can get started with that. And so I'm really excited about this and super excited to be able to have you there. So I will, post the link to the summit on, the different platforms so that you have access to that. It'll also be on the podcast show notes as well. So anyways, looking forward to seeing you there. Can't wait, and we'll catch you tomorrow.